The afternoon has been glorious because of Atletico de Madrid or its community manager. But anyway, Atletico de Madrid going crazy, going crazy. What would Sabina say? Look, very well brought up because of Atleti, because they got Julian Alvarez. And they've started posting tweets like these, a bit ridiculous, honestly, but oh well. Also trying to make not only Barca look bad, but also the famous Italian journalist, if you can even call him that. But there's also a sentence in one of the tweets, a final sentence, that I had to look at 3 times to check if it was really Atletico de Madrid's account. And yes, and it's appreciated that they're coming to our side now because, of course, that's 3 years late. Now let's see which sentence it is. Let's talk about this and also about other things, like the fact that Riquelme resists going all in on the Negreira issue. And I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And I also think that it hurts him. And of course, Castilla has won 2-0 against Sabadell in the first leg of the start of these promotion playoffs to the second division, which we are happy about. All right, let's get started. Well, welcome, Madridistas. How are you all doing? Now let's talk about this one from the Vineyard. Also, Rafinha, Pedri, well, they've gone crazy. But the tweet I had to look at 3 times was this one. Of course, with everything that's happened in the last 24 to 48 hours with, well, Barca naturally moving forward, and I think they're already presenting the 100 million offer. Today they presented the big guy, who, by the way, was there in Barcelona waiting. The signing wasn't happening, even David Bernabeu. Today he said it's a shame how the club does this. Just imagine how that must have been. In the end, they presented the guy, and that's it. But come on, that's already 70 or 80 million, right? Yeah, and plus the 100 for Julian Alvarez, you say. But well, what is this? But what is this? But it's already explained in the previous video that, look, and we say it again, Barca brings in a lot of money. I mean, Barca has money. Another thing is what they've squandered all that on and their problems with financial fair play. But it's fine because Tebas is here to hold back a bit on some things, and on others, just let it go. Like, come on, you guys go ahead, right? And on others, he pretends to be fooled, right? Like with the registrations in 2022, he says, I was tricked. With Olmo's case, no, that didn't happen here. But then the government gets involved. And so Tebas stays quiet, and Olmo is still under that famous provisional measure, which we don't even know how long will last. Well, that's what this tweet from Atletico de Madrid is referring to, which says, no, Atletico de Madrid would never do something like that. However, in recent months, we've been suffering a smear campaign against one of our players. Leaked information with an agenda, fake news, and continuous disrespect. Here, if they don't make a veiled reference to Madrid and the famous machinery that Madrid is always said to have, well, they just can't help themselves. But anyway, he says the Barca version of the machinery, making up stories before direct clashes. But of course, we wouldn't think of doing that either. Having the vice president of the referees on the payroll, or resorting to political favors to register players, respect and values. All right. You arrived late. You should have gotten outraged when they messed with Julian Alvarez. And you should have been saying it before, you shameless lot. The first day, you should have done everything. See how in Spanish football, not everything that should have been done was done. And in Madrid too. Contrary to the dirty tricks that Barca has made in recent decades. Of course, if Madrid had done this, just imagine these guys from day one, and I'm telling you, the rest of the teams in the first and second division. The next league wouldn't have been played. The next match day wouldn't have been played. I mean, it just wouldn't have happened, etc. This has already been talked about more than enough, but so much more could have been done. Come on, but please. By the way, today I was at The Objective with Marcos Ondara, and well, you'll like it. I'm going to put the link in the description of this video. We've done a special on the elections, Real Madrid elections. You're going to like it. Take a look. As I said, you have it in the description of this video, the link to the video on The Objective. We went live at 7 p.m. and you have it recorded there. Well, that's it. Now they're acting all outraged. They've been pushed so far that they've finally done something like this, but that's not all. And now we'll talk about the Negreira thing. By the way, that's not all, because they've started posting tweets like this. Here we go. We've sent a fax to Barcelona, and they even mention it with our transfer offer. 4 tickets to tomorrow's Bad Bunny concert, a yearly subscription to ABC. You have to admit they've been on point. It's funny. Or the social media manager is funny, and a bag of sunflower seeds. We're waiting eagerly. The answer to prepare the announcement. Here they're also making fun of Fabricio Blaugrana a little bit. This one's about Pedri. Some of them have lost a bit of their humor, but that one was more or less funny. For this second offer, we've had a problem. We've run out of tickets for tomorrow's concert, so we'll improve the previous proposal with 6 tickets for Sunday's concert. From Rafinha, here we go. And to complete the 3-for-1, we've gotten excited and we're going all out. The player joins on a 1-season loan, and we're loaning out Tom Ford and Smith in return. So this is what Cerezo said. Without a purchase option, an offer you can't refuse. Tom Ford and Smith. Things Cerezo once made up. This isn't serious for a club. It's not serious. And also, look, with that last awesome phrase like, hey, we don't do this. Well, neither do we nor anyone else except Barcelona do this. It would have been fine, but they've really embellished it here. Speaking of which, so I don't forget, we're going to be at Big Up for the Champions League final. Live tomorrow, reacting to the Champions League final. Remember, 6 p.m. Spanish, European time, and 6 hours earlier on the East Coast of the United States. We'll be there. You also have the link in the description. We'll be there reacting live, like I said, to the final, and you can also play the prediction game, as always, and so on. Well, now let's get started. Let's talk about Riquelme. Lukewarm about the Negreira issue. I've been saying that since day one. Since day one. If this man isn't forceful about the Negreira thing, today we showed this in the previous video. Here, what he basically says is hard to hear. He says the Negreira situation is a disgrace, and there's clearly something odd about refereeing from those years. He adds, but I won't get myself in trouble. No, go ahead and do it. Get yourself into trouble, Riquelme. But guys, don't you see how upset the club members are about this and the fans in general? Can't you see how upset we are? I don't like that he doesn't go all the way. Here, it's not that. Look, we've talked about it before on The Objective. It would be very easy for him. Hey, the Negreira thing is unforgivable in the criminal case. Let's go all in. I fully support what Madrid did up to then. Also saying we reacted late because we were with Laporta in the Super League and all that. You can say that because we're saying it ourselves too. We've always said it, and anyone who has seen how things happen says it too. But, I mean, you penalize Florentino for it. I'm speaking from the point of view of Enrique Riquelme's campaign. If I meant Florentino, I'd say penalize him for other things, which is already happening. But come on, you go with that, but you say, hey, and the dossier to UEFA, great. And here there's a way, or at least they should inform him properly. There's a way in which UEFA and FIFA can still sanction Barça. Because that didn't expire. And damn, in that case, we'll take you seriously on this. If not, this gentleman has to allow us to have doubts. Above all, and I don't want to think about it, because we're in the week when Marca did a Negreira report. The data on all the referees. They act like they're so good, but they include statements from some people, point out contradictions, and discuss both sides. But at the same time, they put Lucen saying he hopes for a strong verdict sooner rather than later. We're never exempt from the possibility of mistakes, but they're always unintentional mistakes. I mean, there are many things that downplay this a little and leave it in that same unfortunate version of, let's see what the justice system says. No. Let's see what the justice system says. No. Here there are payments that Barcelona made to the second in command of the referees for 2 decades that would have been sanctioned. If they hadn't expired due to the sports law, and administratively, Barça would have been relegated to the second division, and Barça wouldn't have been invited to the next Champions League. Or UEFA wouldn't have invited them to the next Champions League, maybe not even the one after that. And then FIFA would have stepped in and everything would have snowballed, of course. But since there were no sanctions here, Laporta did his job, went to Slovenia to have lunch with Seferin, and it didn't escalate beyond UEFA. No one presented any report to FIFA. Madrid has waited 3 years to do that. Yes, we appeared in the criminal case, but 3 years through other channels so that Barça would receive its punishment. And here nothing happens. No, sorry. Here there are some payments that a club can't make to a deputy chief of referees. Period. But they're selling it to you as if, did the referees influence things? Hey, let's take a look at how the refereeing was, because even in this report, it talks about some very surprising cases about referees, because of course you can't hide that. Referees who had no blemish on their record. You get what I mean when I say they had no blemish, right? In their behavior with Barça, in the sense that Barça hadn't lost a single match with them. Everything was spotless for Barça, of course. And that with Madrid, for example, it was the complete opposite. And well, the refereeing record was terrible, etc. But at the end of this report, of this documentary, they leave it as something like, you decide for yourselves. Did the referees decide it? Here are the numbers. Now you decide. No, it doesn't matter whether this can be interpreted or not. A club can't pay millions to a senior refereeing official, not in cash, not personally, not through a company. They can't. It's impossible. This should already be sanctioned. And yet, look at what Marca is doing now, especially these days. I don't like how this smells. I don't like how this smells. No. Let's talk about the mail-in voting, because yesterday on the COPE network, there was a Real Madrid member who wanted to vote for Florentino Perez. By the way, and he said this about mail-in voting, which I think is a disgrace, man, that today it still has to be like this.
Raul Barros, a Real Madrid member, is listening and wants to vote by mail, but I'm not sure if he will. Hi, Raul. How are you? Good evening.
Hi, Raul. Hello. Good evening, Juanma. How are you?
How are you? Very well. You're a Real Madrid member, right?
Yes, that's right. Yesterday, I went to the Real Madrid offices to get the documents needed to vote by mail. And well, this is an impossible mess. It's an invitation not to vote. Why? Because I have to find a notary. The notary my family has to, well, handle a vote by mail matter. And obviously, a notarized document has to be drawn up, and they couldn't give me an appointment until June 10th. So I'm basically unable to vote.
So, have you basically given up on exercising your right to vote because they won't let you?
Of course, since I don't have any notary who can squeeze me in to help me with it, because it's also a mess on the form it says, well, nobody understands this. In my case, I was definitely going to vote for Florentino. I like him and wanted to support him. But for personal reasons, I won't be in Madrid that weekend, so Florentino loses my vote. So I find myself, of course, already resigned to not being able to vote.
What other issues do you see in the process besides the notary situation?
Well, look, it says here on the sheet, I mean, the voting member has to go to a notary freely chosen by him with his ID so they can verify my identity. And by obtaining a notarized certificate of mailing by certified mail, cast their vote by mail by placing the ballot in the voting envelope. Include all of this, plus the certificate of registration on the voter roll and a plain copy of the notarized certificate of mailing by certified mail in the official envelope for mail-in voting approved by this electoral board. The voter's full name and membership number will be written on the outside and sent by certified mail through a notary to P.O. Box 6000 in Madrid, 6031, opened for this purpose. So obviously in all of this, well, I have to pay the notary, which, well, they told me it's about 100 euros. What do you mean? Then Madrid, 100 euros, 100 euros. Yes, because at the end of the invoice, it lists Madrid and states the notary expense invoice will be sent to the club by regular mail with the account number, so the club can reimburse later. I mean, if anyone has understood everything I've said, because I've read it, it's just that I don't get it. Honestly, no, me neither. And I'm a person with a degree, and honestly, I just don't get it. It's so simple. I have the envelope here, the envelope from the P.O. box, put my vote inside, go to the post office and send it. With your ID.
They prove that the vote is yours, of course.
With a copy of my ID, and I do it.
ID. But I don't know if Florentino has considered that this might actually hurt him. Really, it's just that no.
No, I have no problem. I'm actually very satisfied with Florentino, despite his pros and cons. I want to vote for Florentino, but I can't since I don't have a notary friend to get me in tomorrow. But that's no longer the issue.
It's the amount of interest you have to cast your vote. I mean, you'd have to be totally. Of course, you have to do a series of things that I don't know if everyone has time for.
Because, of course, it's a shame. It's a shame. And it would be enough to do it by mail. It's true that, well, the notary gives it that assurance that no one can be cheated. But of course, you pay the notary 50 or 100 euros and then the club. Who knows when you'll hear from them again, and so on. And I mean, really, it's terrible. Well, Enrique Riquelme has taken the initiative. This is a good thing he's done by telling the members that they can go to his headquarters in front of the Bernabeu, and there's a notary there. If they want to vote by mail, someone asked, if I want to vote for Florentino, will you do it for me at Enrique Riquelme's headquarters too? Well, you know what? I'll be traveling on Sunday. I still don't know when I'm going to travel, but I've thought about it, about voting by mail, because honestly, I just don't feel like it anymore. You know, I just don't feel like it. And well, um, I honestly don't get this. I really don't understand. I mean, the fact that in this day and age, this is so complicated. And look, I think Juanma Castaño was right about that. This could get complicated for Florentino because of this and the fact that not so many people are voting. Nacho Peña, who was with me there at the Objective, said that he remembers the number of members who voted in the elections of 2000, 2004, 2006. And the one with the most votes had 33,000 people. There were 27,000, 30,000, and 33,000. Be careful. Be careful because low turnout with the Pope being here and traffic in Madrid getting complicated and so on. Be careful with this and above all the problems there are with voting by mail. But I'm surprised that Florentino hasn't done something similar here. I think he will have a notary at Florentino's headquarters. Hey, look, it's good that they have one at Riquelme's headquarters, and I would also like there to be another notary at Florentino's headquarters. That way, people who want to vote by mail won't cause any problems, damn it. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you think about this and other things. Hope everything goes well for you. Give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe to the channel. Hype up the video, please. It really helps the channel. And that's it. See you in the next one. Have a good night. Bye. Bye.